Preview time. We're playing Southampton on Saturday away. We're back. England is over. The international break is over. And we're taking them on at St Mary's. Look, Southampton, interesting team. I think they've always kind of been a little bit of a rogue team in that sense. High pressing, high intensity style. Sometimes it works and pays off like it nearly did against Manchester United. Other times it really doesn't. And West Ham took advantage of them, of course, at the London Stadium last year. I think for West Ham, in terms of a predicted 11, it's interesting to see whether Moyes plucks for Areola or Fabianski. I've got a feeling he'll stick with Fabi. I think there were some issues. I say some. There were quite a few with Craig Dawson and Lucas Fabianski. And whereas last season it was quite difficult to go and bring someone in, I think now we've obviously got Areola and Zuma. There are options there for West Ham to consider. But I think Fabianski will still start. I think he'll give him the benefit of the doubt. And I don't feel that Southampton in the areas... And I always think about set pieces with Fabianski. I think about overloading the box. I don't think Southampton are going to do that significantly in this game, but remains to be seen. I think the back four, I think Soufal obviously starts at right back, Creswell at left back, and I think Kurt Zouma comes in for Craig Dawson. I think it's time, to be honest. I think we've paid a lot of money for him, but take that aside, we look at the playing style, athletic, strong in the air, allows West Ham to get on the ball a little bit more. I think he'll be the aggressor at centre-back. He'll be looking to compete with Che Adams. That will be an interesting dynamic. And I think generally speaking, between our centre-backs and their front two, because we know how they work off one another. And we know that Armstrong, again, offers that work rate, ability to run into the channels. Can Ogbonna use his intelligence to read that? Or do West Ham need Thomas Souček and Declan Rice at times to sit in that double pivot position and give them a little bit of protection? Double pivot, as I just mentioned, Declan Rice and Thomas Souček. Now, Declan's been more progressive in the games that we've seen him so far this year. We've seen him play more of a number 8 role. I've been really impressed with him on the ball. I think the passing accuracy backs that up. I just watched the England game as well. I know it was a disappointing result in the end, but just the way that Declan reads the game and the spaces in front of the back four is absolutely crucial to West Ham being defensively compact and solid. And I feel that against Southampton, the way that their wingers will invert, the way they almost play with a front four at times, again, that will pose West Ham some issues if they do cut into those central areas. So Declan's absolutely pivotal from that sense. And I think Souček offensively, I don't think Souček's been magnificent by any stretch of the imagination, probably back end of last season, in the beginning of this season. But with a player like Thomas Souček, the runs that he'll make into Southampton's box, if West Ham do get possession in that final third, like I imagine we will, we know that they struggle with runners. We know that they struggle with physicality. We know that they struggle with aerial duels. All things that West Ham can really cause them problems with their overload. Attacking midfield, 3. I think we're looking at very similar to the last game, if not the same. Fornals for me on the left, Bowen on the right, and Benny down the middle. Now, I've explained this in previous videos. I probably explained this in previews last year with Southampton. That movement from a 4-4-2 out of possession to a 4-2-4 in possession is where I think West Ham will hugely benefit from. I've noticed Southampton being a little bit more conservative in their overload. We're not seeing their fullbacks getting as high and wide. And I think that's where they were vulnerable. Now we're seeing a lot of the emphasis of the width coming from their left midfielder and their right midfielder. And it'll probably be Gineppo down that left-hand side. Don't ask me on the right because I literally cannot remember. But in any case, they will try and use the width in those areas. Now, I think West Ham have got more than enough to deal with that, whether it's in a flat back 4, whether it's with a double pivot. And I think as long as we're winning those individual duels like I believe we can, then I can't really foresee too many issues, particularly with the addition of Kurt Zouma. But naturally, if they do lose the ball and West Ham can counter on them, we're looking at Benrahma, Bowen and Fornals all in the transition. Now, I think where they've got a lot of credit this season, and quite rightly so, is their ability to break down teams and link with one another. The relationship, the movement, the variability of positioning, the ability to keep the ball, all of these factors, I think, has meant that West Ham's play has gone to another level. And it's just given us a little bit of patience against a low block side. But we know that West Ham thrive in that counter-attack with space in front of them. And I think Benrahma naturally will do. I think when you've got that midfield 2 of Ward-Prowse and Romeo, when they're exposed, and I don't think they're necessarily bad players, I think they play a role as well as they can in that dynamic, high-pressing Southampton system. But there's no way for me, I don't think they can fully deal with the likes of Bowen, Benrahma, and Pablo Fornals, all in the transition. And then you've got to obviously include Mikel Antonio up front. Now, this will be really interesting for me, and I've just kind of come off the top of my head. Now, Livramento's obviously come into Southampton. I've been really impressed with what I've seen from him. I think he's more complete than Kyle Walker-Peters, a player that I really rate going forward, but defensively has his problems. I think Livramento can deal with those problems defensively. I think he's got that athleticism. He reads the game well. He carries the ball particularly well. So that could cause West Ham some issues if Southampton revert to type. But we know Mikel Antonio likes to peel off to that left-hand side. And that battle between the two could be really key because I think Livramento is an upgrade, definitely defensively. And if Mickey can use his body well, peel off to the side, possibly even try and play on the shoulder of Livramento and cause him issues and make him think, can I really play offensively on the front foot, or do I have to sit a little bit deeper and be conservative? The Southampton have kind of shown at times, even in the short games this season, that they are trying to think maybe a little bit more conservative and not get broken up so easily. Even in that sense, it'll give West Ham the opportunity to get on the ball, maybe play the higher line, and then we can look to create quality chances and deliveries into the box, which, of course, even without Mickey directly in the box, you've got Souček, we've seen Ben Rama making runs in beyond. So I think West Ham have more than enough. And that's how West Ham operate, just overloading the box with those four players, the attacking midfielders and Mikel Antonio. I think for me, the key battle in this game, can you call it a key battle? I think Declan Rice versus Ward-Prowse is a real interesting battle. And people will say, why are you saying that? Because why would Declan Rice be playing so offensively? Why would he be playing in a more advanced position? I personally don't think West Ham need to go and be as expansive as we have been in prior games. I think we can afford to sit a little bit more compact. I think we could even, if we really wanted to, get Bowen and Fornals to drop deeper and then transition and carry the ball effectively over those spaces like we know they can. But I wonder whether, because of how West Ham are playing and operating, whether David Moyes says to Declan Rice, hang on a minute, or even both of even our double pivot in general, can we go and press Romeo and Ward-Prowse? Can we get those turnovers in the middle of the park? Ward-Prowse is fantastic, has got a fantastic engine on him. I think he's a real quality player, if I'm honest. I think he deals with pressure well. I think he's got a great passing range. But I think Declan is phenomenal at breaking up play, creating turnovers, and he's added that into his game. We've also seen the quality that he now has really shown, probably in the last couple of games, back end of last season, to get on the ball and pick the right pass. So I wonder whether that is actually a battle that I don't think a lot of us foresee. I think for Southampton, and where the vulnerability may be, possibly, is Armstrong. Super impressed with Armstrong since he's come into Southampton. I had my reservations about West Ham purchasing him. I think he would have worked. I do think he would have worked. I've got to concede. I got that one wrong because of the work rate, ability to run into the channels, the introduction of our attacking midfield. You've even seen, West Ham looking at Lingard as a false nine in the summer transfer window. Again, would indicate that Armstrong could have played in that position. Obviously, the lack of aerial threat is an issue. Now, he's going to come up for me against Ogbonna. Now, I think Ogbonna is like a fine wine. I do think he gets better with age, if I'm honest. Now, trying to read that movement is difficult because I think what Southampton will want to do is they want to isolate, and it could happen if West Ham lose the ball or we're poor in possession when we're trying to get on the counter and trying to transition. You could isolate. You could end up with Zuma Ogbonna versus Che Adams and Adam Armstrong. And listen, I back Ogbonna. Of course I do. He reads the game fantastically well. I think we've seen him deal with Jamie Vardy, who we know has got incredible pace. But it does mean that he has to be at his best. He's got to be fully concentrated for the full 90 minutes. And we can't afford to get pulled out of position too many times. But other than that, I don't think... I think we're very difficult. If I'm being perfectly honest, I think we can get caught in midfield if we press a little bit high. I feel that when it's defensively, I think West Ham can cope really well, get back into a shape. We're well organised, we're well drilled. And I don't think Southampton are going to overload us that much to the point where I'm thinking, hang on a minute, they've got 3 men in the box and West Ham have only got 2. I don't think it happens. And I think that's how Southampton get the result. Now, score prediction, I guess I'll wrap it up here then. I think 2-0 West Ham. I think defensively we're more comfortable than I think people would expect us to be against the Southampton side. I think Southampton probably struggled to create against us. I think they have moments in the midfield, possibly when West Ham are trying to get on the front foot. I think maybe as a West Ham fan, I should try and accept a little bit that by being a bit more progressive and a bit more offensive-minded, that we are going to give up the midfield at times and teams are going to have opportunities. But again, the addition of Kurt Zouma is key. I think if we were talking about someone like a Craig Dawson, I'd be sitting here going, yeah, Armstrong or even Che Adams trying to work off Dawson and specifically target him is a problem. Offensively, I think we cause them nightmares. I think Declan Rice progression as more of a number 8 and the quality on the ball he has is crucial to me. If you can win that battle over Ward Prowse, whether it's carrying the ball or pressing and trying to win it back, I think we've got a real front foot in the game. And then you look at our overload in their box. I don't think, from what I've seen, Southampton are good enough to deal with runners and movement off one another. I think Livramento is a good addition, but I think West Ham have got multiple ways in which to hurt them. We can break them down if they want to get in a compact shape, which could happen. And I think we can introduce the fullbacks. Could be vulnerable, but that is a way that West Ham could get a result here. I think we can overload the box in transition. Again, a nightmare to deal with for opposition teams. That's West Ham's bread and butter. And then you look at set pieces. I think we're really, really strong from those even now. You add Kurt Zuma, Soucek, Antonio. Unbelievable. Brilliant delivery from someone like a Creswell. I think we've got too much from him, if I'm honest. I think Benny gets a goal. And I think maybe a Kurt Zuma debut goal would be a lovely job. 3 points in the bag. That is exactly what I want from this game. But who knows with West Ham? Let me know in the comment section what you think about this game. Do you think it's as easy as I'm making out? I don't think it's easy, by the way. And I've probably kind of downplayed Southampton a bit. But do you think this is a game that West Ham have to win? I personally do. I think we have to get the points here. And I think we have to come away and keep building on the momentum. We're still unbeaten, even in this early season. Getting points on the board now. We've got the Europa League coming up. We've obviously got Manchester United after this. So it's really important for me that West Ham get the points where we need to, because I don't know how we're going to be impacted by the Europa League. Great additions in Vlasic and Krau. Again, if Moyes tries to rotate in this game, if we're in control, that's the one area West Ham do need to work on, is the controlling games. Then maybe we can try and manage the situation. But I do think it's a real weight on this squad. But on that negative note, take care, everybody. I'll see you probably on Sunday for the post-match reaction, and have a really nice day.